What common myth can be disproved in seconds? Pulling a fire alarm does not, in fact, activate the sprinkler system in most scenarios. Certainly not indoors, at your school, your home, or any indoor commercial establishment. And you can prove it by pulling the fire alarm. And if any sprinklers do go off, it'll only be the ones in very hot areas, like near a fire, not all of the sprinklers in the building. You could test that one by holding a lighter up to a single sprinkler for a few seconds, though you might be liable for the water damage. If you enter a PIN backwards at an ATM, it summons the police. My PIN is a palindrome. Edit: everybody in this thread is assuming that my PIN is only 4 digits long. My PIN is much longer than that. I love my credit union. They let me choose the length of my PIN. It's 8008, isn't it? There are only 99 possible palindrome 4-digit PIN numbers, right? I'll crack the code. Edit: 100. We can only taste certain tastes on specific parts of our tongue. Just put something sour on different parts of your tongue, you will always be able to taste it. I always took it as some parts of your tongue are more sensitive to different flavors. Myth: check common, check easily disproved within seconds. Assuming you have something sour on you, check. My god people, he's done it. He's actually answered the question. People say the water in pools turns red if you pee in. You can prove the opposite within seconds. Even if it did, your total amount of pee is hardly enough to even show up visibly in a pool. And even more importantly, if this invention did exist, no pool owner would ever use it. They'd literally have to drain the pool all the damn time if that was the case. That would be so expensive. If were true, every baby in the pool would be co-distantly surrounded by red. But as a lifeguard, I must say it's a brilliant urban myth in terms of discouraging kids from pissing in the pool. That Redditors understand what disproved and in seconds mean. Or myth. Only like 3 of the highest rated comments can actually be disproved in seconds. Reddit never reads the question. Reddit just says what it was going to say anyway and rephrases it slightly to kinda fit the question. Don't be like Reddit. Mom does not have eyes on the back of her head. You can tell by jumping on her back and pushing up her hair. Or just swing a bat at the back of her head. If she ducks, maybe she has eyes. If she doesn't, well, there's your answer. What about stepmoms? That KFC is no longer allowed to use the word chicken because of some government mandate. If you go to their website, the word chicken is everywhere. Oddly specific but easily proven. Well, hey. You don't even have to go to the website. I can think of 4 things they sell instantly with the name chicken in it. Popcorn chicken, original recipe chicken and chicken tenders and chicken meat pie, in Australia that is. Men think about sex every 8 seconds. I hadn't thought about it all morning until just now. Edit: man, you guys jerk off a lot, and I thought I was bad. Men think about sex every 8 seconds. Fact: actually just statistical error. Men think about sex twice a day on average. Sigmund Freud, who lives in Vienna and thinks about sex 487,500,000 times per second, is an outlier and should not have been counted. I feel like this statistic was gathered by asking men every 8 seconds if they're thinking about sex. If they weren't, they are now, because mentioning a thing makes you think of it. Microwave seat from the inside out. Get anything microwavable. Put it in for 30 seconds. Note the scalding hot outer layer and still frozen center. False. Microwaves are actually sentient beings and do this to assert their dominance. I agree with you, the radiation is tuned to excite the water molecules. Try microwaving something without water, maybe fat too? Anyway, I was fascinated on Sunday when I went to melt butter. It melted a hole in the center and expanded from there. That blood is blue before it hits oxygen. This is my most hated myth. There are so many obvious ways to disprove it, most prominently being the fact that one of the purposes of blood is to carry oxygen around the body. How would you disprove this in seconds? People of Reddit, please infer the intent of the question. It was not what can you Google in seconds, because that is literally everything. What can you standing face to face with someone prove wrong in seconds, without the use of Google, Edit, or Bing? Judging by how many answers to questions like doctors of Reddit, and cardboard box factory workers of Reddit. Start with not a doctor/cardboard box factory worker, but I'd say that complaining that people aren't doing it right is almost as useless as me writing this rebuttal. That stupid thing about different regions of your tongue tasting different things. I remember when I was first taught this at school, so I immediately got something salty, it was salt, if memory serves, and put it on the back of my tongue, far away from the salt zone. I could still taste it. The persistence of this myth is baffling to me. It's so easy to disprove. And surely most kids, upon learning this little fact, would immediately grab something salty or sweet in order to try it out. Edit, this article contains an example of the kind of map I'm talking about, for those that aren't familiar. As per the article, this was disproved in the early 21st century. They taught that in school? I just assumed that the tastes were stronger in, not exclusive to, those areas. I tried it with something sweet and managed to convince myself it worked, even though it didn't really. I just didn't want to think I was wrong. ITT, people naming conspiracies and not disproving them frown. Not only are they not disproving them, but most of them aren't myths and they can't be disproved in seconds. The disproof is left as an exercise to the reader. ITT, disprovable myths but not in seconds. Googling and using your brain is suddenly the equivalent to scientific proofs now. Einstein apparently wasted a lot of his time considering he only needed to write "it's obvious" on his thesis. Masturbating makes you blind. Can be disproved in seconds. That's pretty hard to read. Almost none of you can disprove your posts in seconds. You all stopped reading at common myth and some have skipped common. That Redditors aren't idiots. Proof, read the answers to this post. I shit where I sleep. You should have stipulated the question to be something you can actually prove on your own in seconds, not something a Google search can confirm in seconds. It was clear enough. Redditors as a group are dumb. How do people not get this? Even if it's something completely, utterly stupid like, feeding your dog half a banana daily will make it live forever, you cannot scientifically disprove that until the dog dies. Drinking water will make your toenails fall off instantly, take a sip, toenails stay intact, that is an example of disproving in seconds. The moon landings pictures show all shadows in said pictures, produced by the sun's light, as parallel. That is, all shadows have the same exact angle and intensity. Only the sun can make parallel shadows from that distance and radiance for way back in 1969. Not all shadows, at least not visually. Mythbusters did a great episode on it though and demonstrated that the shadows that appear to not be parallel are actually caused by bumps and dips in the ground creating optical illusions. Very nitpicky I know, but it's technically not accurate to say that the pictures show all the shadows as parallel. Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.